As a single parent, when my son was 5 years old, I had someone ask me, how are you going to find a husband, a mate with an overactive 5 year old and your mother with Alzheimer's living with you? Hello, everyone. I'm Pamela D. Marshall, the author of the book, The Art of Forgiveness and Expression of Peace, examining this topic of why is single parenting not a good idea? And it happens every day. Perhaps you're single parenting right now, or you have. We see celebrities who are doing it like it's just a breeze. But please remember, celebrities have nannies and housekeepers and all of those things that the average person does not have access to. And the other thing is they have money. More single parents are living below the poverty level than those with two-parent households. And women who are single parenting are at greatest risk of living in poverty with their children. Can it be done? There are people that are doing it every day, but is it the best thing? I truly thought that I had the ability to do it, and I did do it to the best of my ability. But to think about there would be times when I actually needed the other person, not just for the resources, but over the holidays, my little 4 year old grandson was with us. And just to have Scott take him outside to walk the dog, and the noise level went down in the house. And I was like, oh, goodness, I feel so much better. To have someone else who can handle discipline other than you. When I was single parenting and in the middle of the night when Brennan, as a baby, awakened, it was always my turn. When it was time to pay for daycare, it was always my turn. When it was time to handle everything, it was always my turn. It is so much better when we can have a break. I watched single women in my family, and the older women that were single parenting was generally because a spouse died and they chose not to remarry, and I certainly can understand that. But today, when we're making it the norm to just have babies without regard to what the outcome is going to be for the child and the child's future, I think we forget about that. We fail to have honest discussions about what it means to single parent. And if being a single parent means that your child is going to do poorly in school, that this child that you want to bring in the world is going to have emotional challenges, that they're going to have conduct problems, that they're going to have low self esteem, that they're going to have problems in life forming and maintaining social relationships. Think about how people are coming together today. Many of them, two people coming from two single parent situations. And we're trying to make relationships work out of two people who are broken, and those issues have not been addressed and they've not been healed. As single parents, as a single parent, we have less opportunity to spend good quality time with our children. There was a time in my life I was working 7 days a week because I had to provide all of the resources for Brennan, for Brennan and for me. And so then that puts him in the hands of, I remember when I was working television and I was doing evenings in the nightly news, I would have him in daycare. Then I would have to pick him up from daycare after the 5 o'clock news, take him to somebody else because I had to do the 10 o'clock news. And then by the time I picked him up, he was asleep. And then the next day, it started the cycle all over again. Well, where is the time that I was supposed to spend with him to help develop the bond, the relationship? There's such disruptions that take place in our lives, and it causes problems. We can go on like this is okay, and we can manage it. But is it really the best? I wish we would sit down and have some real frank conversations with young ladies and young men about single parenting. I'm not trying to get in your business. I'm just telling you the reality is it is not the best thing for you and it's not the best thing for your children. You have work overload and trying to multitask and dealing with behavior problems and then relationship problems, even for yourself. How do you manage to try to find a relationship with somebody else who may be accepting or not accepting of your child? That becomes a factor. And I even said once, I see why the scripture tells us to get married and marry once and um, stay with that person. Do, Lord, do. Who do you want to bring in over your children who may not like you as much as they like your children? Let's just be honest, people. There's some crazy folks out there who will act like they like you and they may have their eyes on your children. That's real. That's real. So if we would be honest with each other, and for those who are married, I pray God's blessings on you so that you can keep that union together. That you have a community around you that encourage you to stay together more than um, um, split up, because the challenge, the trauma that it causes for children when there's a breakup. Now, I am not advocating being in a relationship where you are in harm's way or your children are in harm's way. That's why we also have to talk about the selection process of who we select as the mates that we are going to be with for long term and be with who are going to help parent our children. Is this person the one that can have the right covering over you and your family, the godly covering, the one that can pray with you all at night, that can pray with you all in the morning, the godly covering over you and your family. And make sure you have that village around you that supports you staying together rather than breaking up. I mean, it doesn't matter how you put the toilet paper on the roll or how you squeeze the tube out of the toothpaste, but it does matter when you sit down and that you all are on one accord when it comes to the decisions that are being made about your children. E- and as a single parent, especially women and yeah, men too, there's loneliness. We're humans. While we have these children, and yes, you can do it by yourself, but you are at an age where you would like to have that companion in your life. So you either are going to cut that off, or deal with loneliness, and then you have, you know, guilt. If you're doing it right now, and I applaud you, I also suggest you as single parents to find the right uh, nucleus of those who can surround you and be there for you, and the right people who can give you the breaks that you need, because Lord knows we need those breaks. And even if it's just a moment of time for us to get a break, we need it. Um, it is well known and documented that children um, are at risk, very high risk, growing up with single parents. They're at a greater risk than those who are not. They have a higher rate of school suspension, higher rate of not graduating from high school, lower college attendance, higher crime, higher incarcerations. Can we do it? Yes. Yes, it can be done. And if you need to just delay having children until you find a mate, as a matter of fact, adopting as a single parent, I felt like, well, at least he has somebody. But there have been times when I have thought, should I have allowed Brennan to be available for a two-parent family rather than me trying to do it as a single parent? I do not sit here and have this conversation from a place of condemnation. I do not. I sit here and have this conversation from a place of retrospectively looking at my son, who's now 26 years old, how different his life could have been had there been a strong man in his life. I had one friend who said to me, my wife and I have two children. When my son turned 6 years old, I told her, I have it the rest of the way. I got it the rest of the way. And how wonderful it is that he understood his role in his son's life to say, I have it the rest of the way. Um, Single parents, it's a huge responsibility. It's a huge responsibility. I urge you not to take it lightly. We are in charge of not just these little people that we see, these are souls that we have been entrusted with to lead and guide. So, as we are working through this process of single parenting, please be mindful of how you speak to your children, how, whether you're single parenting or not, be mindful of that. But also be mindful of how you are seeing you. We make these decisions with the best information that we have at the time, and we want to make sure that we do the best that we can as we move forward, and recognizing that we are doing something that was intended to be two people doing it. That's why it took two people to make them, and we need two people to raise them. Now, I don't care what the societal norm is. If we didn't need but one, then we would be like some of these animals that can just procreate by ourselves. We need both to take them across the finish line, to take them to adulthood. So if you are single parenting, I recommend number one, finding a support group, a support person that can give you the break that you need. It may not be a male figure, it may be a woman in your life. Find that person that can help give you a break because you need a break. You need a break so that you can refresh. You need to be available to hear these young people that we have been in charge of lifting up and taking across the line to adulthood. As a single parent, we do the absolute best that we can. But if you're watching and you're making a decision about whether or not you want to have a child by yourself, I urge you, do not. I urge you, do not single parent. Do not, do not. It is so much better if you have a healthy relationship and a healthy mate that can be on the same page, on one mind, with one mind and one accord on how you all are going to move forward, committed to the commitment of being married, committed to the commitment of raising these young people, these children, these souls that we have been trusted with in a fashion where they are prepared for the next steps in this journey. I embrace you wherever you are, and whatever the situation is, the creator of the universe can see you through it and guide you through it. But if you got to make a decision today on whether or not you want a single parent, I don't recommend it at all. Doesn't matter what the celebrities are doing, doesn't matter what you've watched. I do not and will never endorse being a single parent. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for watching. I hope you will like and share. I hope this will inspire some other real conversations about this situation that's impacting our whole families. I appreciate those who are watching. Louise McKinney, thank you very much. Kendra, single parenting is tough. I've been there with two sons. I've been there with two sons, and so did my mom, and she raised five. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, but don't make this choice because you see people doing it and because it's the norm. Thank you, Kara Hall. Beautiful family that you have, and example. And I applaud you and what you and your husband are doing. Thank you again so much, all of you, for watching. Please share and have some honest conversations with the young people in your life, the men and the women, the boys and the girls. How are we going to do better if we keep endorsing the same poor mistakes, the same poor judgments? Thank you. We will see you next time. I'm Pamela Marshall at the Wellness Radio TV and at the Wellness Radio TV podcast. Remember, there is healing at the well. Make it a fantastic moment. We will see you next time. God bless you.